Morning, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to WestysAngling. You're joining me on a drizzly morning today for another fishery review, and today we're at Croft Fisheries in Adlington. We've never visited this complex before. There's 3 lakes to choose from and we've chosen the first lake as you come in today. Really excited to get the rods in the water. But before I start, a little bit of information about the fishery. As always, I'll link the address for the fishery in the description. Never fished here before, neither's my dad. We've just turned up on the spur of the moment to give it a go and give it a fishery review. We was going to go somewhere else today, but it was absolutely rammed first thing this morning, so we've decided to come somewhere a little bit quieter, and I'm glad we have, because it looks absolutely beautiful. Look at this, folks. Aerators running, which is a great sign. So there is a ticket booth or pay station as you come in, and it does recommend that you buy your tickets before you start fishing. It's £5. It doesn't state whether you can use 1 rod or 2, so I'm guessing it's £5 for 2 rods. I don't think they'd have a problem with that. I've already seen carp moving about in the margins, so that's where I'm going to be targeting. I'm going to be fishing the method feeder today primarily. If they start moving up in the water, then I'll swap onto the core and floating feeder, and we'll see if we can get them just under the water surface. So that's the plan for today. But yeah, great sign that the aerator's running. Looks like a really healthy fishery, very clear water and a very naturalistic looking venue. There's plenty of bubbles coming up. My dad's already getting himself set up here. He's fishing on his box today, again on a tip rod, but very excited to get fishing. I'll take you through some of the setup. We'll get some 2mm pellets mixed up and get the method feeder out. Right folks, let's get into the video. Okie dokie folks, so as you can see, the really small pegs here at Croft Fisheries, and obviously these are geared up for your match type setup with either your feeder rod or your pole or whatever. So you're probably going to need a feeder chair or a box or something like that if you want to come and fish here. You could probably get a rod rest in, maybe down the left hand side there, something like that. I'm sure you'd manage to set it up if you needed to at a push, but I would say you probably need a rod pod, feeder chair or box style setup for this particular fishery. There are toilet facilities on site, very basic, very simple rules. I'm going to be targeting the margins down there today. I've just got a big bramble out and moved it round to the side so I can fish really close in here. As you can see, I'm already set up. I've got my tip rod there, I've got my rear double rest on there, and then I've got my Guru Reaper rod rest out the front, and I'll be fishing it on the old core and feeder chair. So let's get some pellets mixed up. What pellets am I going with today? Well, as usual, I'll be using my own brand of pellets, and I'm going to be using my favourite mix today. This is my go-to mix on any new venue, and it's a 50-50 mix of sweet marzipan, halibut pellets in 3mm. I don't know how much we're going to be catching today. I can always mix some more up. Only mix what you need, folks. And the other half is going to be power per drop in 2mm, and they're a fish meal pellet. So we'll put these out. It is drizzly today, as I've said. It's meant to be absolutely red hot later. Again, we've had some absolutely scorching weather recently, so I think just with this bit of rain it might actually bring them on the feed. Very impressed that the aerator's running. It shows that the fishery cares about the fish and the stock, and they're willing to spend a bit of money to look after the health of the fish, because these things, folks, cost a lot of money to run, but sometimes you need to spend money to preserve money. Just me and my dad on so far today. You had any kind of indications, Dad? No, nothing yet. I have got my unhooking mat here in case we get a chunk today, but most of the fish I'm just going to be unhooking in the net. Once I've mixed my pellets up, I'll have everything next to me in this. I use it as a bit of a table. So let's get some glaze in there. So that's the potent coca scope. And what wafters are we going to be using? My pineapple wafters and the original F1 sweet. It's a really clear water. I find that yellow always works best, so we'll start off on the pineapple, put them in there, These aren't going to be far off. No, I think they're good. Give them a little quick stir through there. And I'm going to start the swim off with a couple of handfuls of these, just while I'm getting myself set up a bit better. If there's any carp in that area, that'll get them grubbing about straight away, and it might lead to a quick bite. Find that it does that more often than not. Sorted. I'm fishing my usual feeder setup with a Shimano Speedmaster rod there, 10 pound main line, 9 pound Guru Engage, hook length. Tied myself with a size 10 hook. Banjo feeder, because it is a deep fishery this, I would have thought. It looks like an old lodge, which is why it's so clear. It's very established. It's a bit of a woodland lake this, there's trees all the way around it. Beautiful setting, and the main aim is to get some fish on the bank now that we've had a bit of a chat about the fishery. It has been recommended to me a couple of times, this fishery. I think there's a decent stock of carp in. Just check my hook length there, it seems pretty strong. Core and bolt bead there. Right, let's get into it. And I'll try not to break my neck today or fall in. The one thing I will say about these Corum XS feeder arms, they're not very adjustable. I'd prefer to put my tip closer to the water surface there, but I've not really got any way of doing it. I might be able to get another inch or so there, that'll do. Just by putting my double armrest up. But yeah, they're not really adjustable at all. You get like, you can obviously adjust it down here on the knob, but there's only like certain settings that it'll tighten onto, and I find it's either too high or too low. I can't really get it where I want it, whereas the Preston ones, I think they've got an adjustment here as well, which just lets you fine tune it a bit more. So I might have to change that at some point. It does do my head in, but everybody always asks what feeder arm I'm using, but I honestly do think that the Preston Innovations one's slightly better. Morning, you okay? What's that, sorry? Well, it's better than it being red hot, isn't it? Yeah, I believe so.
I've not been for a long time.
No, well, we've not fished it before, but I believe that you can.
Plenty of room for them.
Yeah.
Is it me laughing or are you getting a little nibble?
No, it's this peg shaking that. Oh, you're alright. Well, that's my swim ruined. Oh my god, what a disturbance. Not f***ing feeder chair over. What a character. Now, usually in lodge fisheries like this, they start off very shallow and then they kind of get a lot deeper. There's a bit of a shelf there normally, so I need to find where that shelf is really and fish just off that shelf. Plenty of bubbles coming up just out. See, this peg's great because nobody can fish all the way around that side because that peg's broken. So I might actually fish, thinking about it now, I hadn't noticed that that peg was closed off. I might actually fish just out from that platform on the left. Looks like a great little spot. And I'll kind of rotate between having a rod a little bit further out and fishing over there to that platform and close in down here. So I'll have 3 spots going, I reckon. And if I want to fish a bit further out, all I need to do is just move my rod rest around a bit. I'm not sure what this fella's doing, but he's making a right disturbance next to my peg here, clattering about with his brolly and stuff. There's not even a peg there for him to fish. Dear me, I've no chance today. Well, that swim's ruined because he's just poured a load of bait down there. So I'm actually going to move. Fish down here. Come right next to me. There's literally not even a peg there, which is why I went there, because it looks private. Well folks, I've just moved my stuff down. I just like privacy and I don't like getting anybody else on the camera when I'm filming, but I did say to him, I said, look, I'm going to be I'm going to be filming this side. There's not even a peg there, but he's just decided to pitch up right next to me, which is fine. But I don't want to cause any issues, so I've just moved down this side, and at least I won't be getting anybody else on the tape then. A bit of courtesy, I guess. But yeah, even though you do explain things to people, sometimes they're just not bothered, are they? But he's paid for a day ticket as well as us, so I'm guessing he can fish where he wants, even though that's not really official peg. There's no marking on it saying that's a peg. Just decided that he wants to go next to this broken one here. Whatever. Slightly annoying, because I did fancy that corner. This might be controversial, folks, but I believe that fishing etiquette, and I know that a lot of you out there agree with me, is you leave at least one peg between you and the next person, especially when the lake's bloody empty like this, you know what I mean? So I would say that if you're new to fishing, don't fish right next to somebody. Spread it out, less line pressure. It's better for the fishing, and mostly these fisheries are all the same. We don't know this fishery, do you know what I mean? And we just decided that they looked all right, those pegs this morning, but I'm sure that they're all as good as each other. Yeah, just give a bit of space between you and the next person. That's all I'd suggest. Nothing worse than a space invader, folks. Right, let's get back into the video. Right, so where are we going to fish here? God, I was so confident down that top end as well. Lead now. We'll just have to go here under this tree. Keep flicking it down the margin. I have to be careful though, there's a tree right above me here. I would have gone on that peg, but it's got like holes in that peg, so I don't want to be dropping my camera equipment down there, do I? It's the fact that I went and had a conversation with him about it as well, saying, look, I'm going to be filming, blah blah blah. And he just went, right, no problem, I won't get in your way. Oh dear. Hint not received. I don't think these are fish bubbles coming up here, but I think it's more dripping from the tree. But I'm going to be stuck in this tree at some point today, and I am. Let's go there. But I hope this shows you that I'm really not bothered where I fish, folks. I don't think it matters. If you're using the right techniques and you're fishing in the right place. There's quite a few fish topping to the right of the aerator though, so I'm going to give it 10-15 minutes down the margin. I'll have a brew. If there's nothing there, then I'll come back to it. So a question I always get asked in the comments is, Westy, why are you still wearing your sunglasses even though it's raining? Well, obviously the polarized sunglasses, so even though it's overcast, even though it's drizzly, it still takes that reflection off the water, and I can see the fish are moving about, especially on the top, and I've seen quite a few near the surface already, which means that they could be feeding up in the water. And if they're feeding up in the water, obviously I need to switch up my methods, but I'm starting off down the margins, starting off on the method feeder like I always do. I'll do that, I'll try down the margin here, then I'll try over by the aerator. I might have had a couple of little indications, but I don't know whether it's just a peg. And then I'll try over by the aerator, and if that doesn't work, then I will try the floating feeder, which is a great string to my bow, even though I think that was a bit of a twitch. I think even though it is a drizzly morning, it's really, really warm, so that could bring them up in the water, as I've said. Oh, that was a definite tug. Liner maybe. I wasn't even watching the rod then, I was looking at my dad. It's a big liner. Something pulling at the wafter, maybe a small fish. That was a bite, definitely. No, well, let's get it back down there, but what I'm going to do is put a smaller wafter on, because it might be smaller fish in this one. They're quite a big wafter than pineapple. So let's put a salmon pink on, because they're a touch smaller. They're not as fat. I'm not going to bury the hook length in the feeder this time. I'm just going to leave it on top, just cover it a tiny bit with a few pellets, which will come off on the cast anyway, so probably pointless. But first bit of a tug. Right, where was that then? Again, watching out for the trees here. Oh no. Oh, it's not going to be my day today. Kick me bleeding coffee cup in water. Dad, I want to go home. I'm round this tree. I've lost my peg. Kicked my coffee cup in the water. Fucking. Yeah, hold me rod over here, Dad. I'd rather fall in than you. Fucking blaming it on that guy that I can't cast. Oh, you that's a nettle. Ah! Oh, I've been nettled now. All over my hand. Oh, that's a bad nettle. Well, for those of you that aren't following the channel, my day does usually go a lot smoother than this, and we usually get a few fish on the bank. Right folks, we'll set back up there. I'm getting absolutely bitten to death by ants here as well. Everything's after me today. Well, there's absolutely tons of bubbling on that spot now. Let's get it back out there. And hopefully not in the tree. It's that bleeding branch that's trees and branches everywhere, folks, honestly. Just have to be really careful. There it is, no, it's a ghostie. Moving under my rods there. Oh, it's a good size fish. That is a good size fish. Hopefully you saw that. The fella that set up next to me, he's got his bite alarms on full blast, so I'm sorry if you have to listen to that today. But we're in. And it's one of them ghosties, I think. I knew this fish would go down for feed. He's moving around in the area. Oh no, I don't think it is a ghostie. It's just a very pale fish. It's not fighting very hard for the size of it. Is it a ghostie? I think they've got a strain of ghost carp in. Oh, it's walking up now. I thought it weren't fighting very hard for the size of the fish. It's a lovely looking fish. Oh, what a beautiful fish this is. It's like a ghost koi common. That's about 7 or 8 pound, that, folks, easy. Look at that. Just wanted to show you this fish, folks, and get a proper video with it because it's an absolute beauty. Honestly, it's one of the nicest fish I've ever caught. This, I think. It's a common carp, but it's got some koi in it. Look at that thing. Really dark.
Beautiful colour.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely stunning.
You can see on the bottom there, it's got like oranges, it's got the whites around its mouth. Lovely fish. There we go. Beautiful fish. So clear this water as well. Not seen anybody else catch. My dad's not had anything. Had a couple of twitches. There's them bite alarms again. Seems to be catching. Is it lined up? My God, turn your bite alarms down. And if you're wondering, yes, that is the same fella that come and fish right next to me before. And he's put about a full bucket of bait in as well, that edge. When you're in fisheries like this, folks, nothing wrong with putting loads of bait out. I've put a few handfuls of pellets. Start off with that because there's more time to find your up bait like that. And if you feel like you need to put more in, you can always put more in. Don't start by coming dumping a load of bait in, especially if it's been hot weather. I think this is a good fish. A testament to the pulling power of the marzipan and pearl drop mix. Love that combination. It smells a bit like banana when you mix them together. Is it the same sort of strain? All odd fish in here. All nice looking, something a little bit different. Let's dig in this one. Oh, that was really bad netting. Edit that out. What the hell is this fish doing? Some lining on it. Oh my God, he's missed it again. What a noddy. What's he doing, this fish? He does not like that net. I've missed it 3 times now. Make that 4. Got it. I'm counting that as 1, that extended netting period. A nice fish, not one for the unhooking map, but a nice fish. 5 poundish. So with clear fisheries like this, they do tend to go dark. Really nice looking fish. Quite hard to net here because you've got like an embankment behind you. Back on pineapple. Just want to say, folks, if you are enjoying the video so far, I know we've not had the best of starts, but it's picking up now. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you are enjoying it. If you've got any questions about anything that I've done today or anything about the fishery, please don't hesitate to drop a comment in the comment section and stick a like on the video for me. That's all you need to do to support the channel. And if you really want to support the channel, you can head over to www.WestysAngling.co.uk and pick yourself up some bait, some pellets, some wafters, whatever. Loads of stuff on there now. But we've got them down there, we've got them eating them pellets. And I think it'll be consistent now until it warms up. Then they might go up in the water. Look at this, folks. Have you ever seen anything like this? These are ant bites. Look at how much they're making me bleed. I think they're red ants. But I've been absolutely savaged here. My dad's not really had anything yet. He had a bit of a run and it's thrown the hook. Very nice fishery though, I must admit. Pegs are really close. Really close. But it is a match water, so it's what you'd expect really. It's probably about 5 metres between pegs. A bit further in some places. I mean, like, even when me and my dad are fishing, we spread out as much as we can. We always have like a peg in between us. It's just about minimising that angling pressure. If there's too many lines in one spot, it really puts them off. They're just obviously swimming through. When they're moving through, they catch the line, and that's what spooks them more often than not. And then they get really wary. Whereas if you're setting little traps, like next to this tree here, my little margin spot, then you're more likely to get them. I usually put a little bit of feed in first. You've seen me do it loads of times, and it does produce quick bites because they'll move in on it. They'll think, hey, oh, a small bit of bait here. Start feeding, and then you drop your method feeder over the top of it, and boom, you're away. Because they've started to build up that little bit of confidence and picking at them loose offerings. But you can't put too much in. If you put too much in, then they're just going to eat the loose feed. And your chances, your chances aren't completely gone, but your chances are lower that they're going to take your hook bait. We've got the second rod ready to go. Put that on my double rod rest. You see that? With the gripper rod butts. Available at www.westysangling.co.uk. My God, turn your arms down, man. Absolutely no filter, that guy, honestly. No filter at all. Does not care. Okay, I'm cringing just listening to him. They're that loud. It's the other side of the lake as well. I'm all the way around this side. Right, let's get this out. Oh God, I forgot about trees. I'm gonna have to underarm it. As far as I can. Well, it's about as far as I'm going to be able to get it out. Then folks, this one's on the one that's a bit further out. Fella's in on the pellet waggler on the opposite side as well. Some brie. Nice size skimmer that. I bet they get bigger than that in this lodge. That's probably what them bubbles were coming up out there. If you're wondering why one tip's a little bit more bent round and the other one's a lot straighter, this is a 2 ounce tip That's a 1.5 ounce tip, so it's got a little bit more flex in it. That was a savage take. Again, just straight out there. Dad's going to start getting annoyed in a minute. He's not had out yet. Told him that it needs to be recasting every 15 minutes or so. If you compare this F1 to the murky water ones at high haze, look at how dark that is. You've got your F1 dots all the way down the side of the flank there. No barbules. Beauty. Lovely fish. I would say, folks, if you're not confident fishing 2 rods, don't do it, just fish with 1. And if you're not confident and you do want to fish 2 rods to try, for example, 2 different areas at once, like I'm doing now, what you can do is fish it on a rod pod with bite alarms and bait runners. That gives you a little bit more thinking time than 2 tip rods. Oh, they've started cruising, folks, 100%. There's a group of 5 or 6 fish there cruising round. I think I'm going to have to put the Coron floating feeder on and potentially mix up some ground bait for it. Hey up, he's in, look. It's about time, Dad. He's lost it. It's pulled out. What a noddy. Oh my God. Getting too excited, rushing it in. My man's got a whistle kettle going now. I don't know if he wants to make any more noise. A whistle kettle. Dear me. Alright. I think we're ready here. So let's stuff that in and get that out. A bit of poker scope on the feeder. And hopefully I don't end up in tree, folks. It's my main worry. Because it's right above me. I have to cast out to the side here. Got to be quite active at the start with this feeder, folks. You can't really just leave it out there. Got to make sure you're getting some smell out there on the top. Find that this method works better when there's more carp moving about and they get a bit more competitive. They aren't really thinking about it. My dad's had a couple more F1s, about 3 or 4 pound a piece. Sun's coming up now. Look at this, what a lovely day. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. Nice fishery. Struggling to get them competing for this feeder though. They seem to be very wary, very shy of the feeder. And this is the first time that I've found that. Usually I've had a fish by now. But I'm going to keep working it. I think this is the best way today, especially for some of the bigger fish that are in here. Let's try a pellet. Let's try a robin red on the hook. And I'll start pinging them out as well. Dad's in again on the method feeder. You can't write it, folks. That fella from before, he's just got his ledger like wrapped round one of the bushes. Because obviously you can't fish there. It's all like bushes around that side, which I did tell him. And he's just caught his ledger around one of them and he's just absolutely flipped and launched his rod. He's making a right disturbance. I actually feel sorry for my dad fishing next to him there. Mental. After talking to a couple of people that walked past me before that fish this fishery often, they seem to think that the average stamp of fish is around £8. but they do get bigger in here. One of them mentioned up to 18. So if you're wondering what sort of sizes they are, if there's anybody out there watching this video that fishes it often and they know any better, please let us know in the comments. And let us know what else is in here as well. We've caught bream, we've caught F1s, and we've caught carp so far. I've seen little minnows, little fry swimming about, probably roach. But yeah, let us know. Obviously it's the first time we've fished it and I've got limited information. Let me show you what happens down here in the margin if I can, to this ground bait. Look at that. Look at how clear that water is. But that's what will happen as soon as your feeder hits the water. You can see all them little fish moving in on it like that. But there's a big cloud there from this expander ground bait that's still there, and the fish just are drawn in by it massively. And you're constantly having that coming out of your feeder. You can see a cloud around it. Well, I can tell you now, folks, that I've used every trick in my arsenal to try and tempt these fish into feeding, and it is a struggle. To be honest with you, it's a struggle today. Really bright, really clear water. I'm not having any success really on the floating feeder. I've had a bit of a twitch recently down the margin here. I'm back down the margin under that tree, but really tough day so far. We've had a couple of nice fish, so at least it's not been a wasted session. But I mean, hot days like this, they're always going to be tough, but I really expected them to switch on to the feed on this coral floating feeder with the success that I have been having with it. So a little bit disappointed in that, but clearly not a technique that works everywhere. Oh. Well, I was just saying that we're going to call it a day so we get packed up, and the margin rod's gone. Always when I'm doing an outro. Oh my god, that's a good fish actually. Put it in that clear water to net it over my other rod here. I don't think it's finished yet. It's a nice start this. On the pineapple. Oh my god, that's a good fish. Look at that. What do you think, Dad? That's it. It is. It's a proper stocky. Big old mouth on it. That is a nice fish. There you go, folks. Look at that. Really nice, dark common. A Croft Fishery common. Beauty. Well, I think they've actually gone down, folks, because I'm in again on the method. Oh, net's back here. If you're not confident in doing this, folks, don't fish two rods. Use your knees. I might not bother with that surface feeder. I might put my other method back out. It's not working here. I'll give it a good go. I've had 3 or 4 hours on it. On the Westies Power Pineapple waft yet. It's not the biggest this one, but it's still a welcome fish on a tough day. The hook come out in a net, I think it has. They're all really nice fish, really dark. 4 or 5 that one, maybe 4. If I'm lucky. Swimming into the net like, there we go. Right, let's get rid of the floating feeder and get the other method. Another small common. Yeah. That's fuming. He's been fishing at bottom all day. It's easy fishing at bottom. I should have fished it all day. The reason that I think I got a quick bite then, folks, is I've been casting there all day with the floating feeder, and there's going to be a big bed on the bottom of dissolving ground bait. It's probably had something to do with a quick bite. He's in again, the lad, straight out. I think this is another one of them F1s, really chocolate coloured. Again, he's in again. Fruit punch ground bait that's doing it. That's the only thing that I'm doing different to my dad, and we're fishing in similar sort of areas to the aerator and that. Well, this just shows you that when the fish are cruising, you can still catch them on the bottom. Unless you're my dad, and then you really struggle with that. But, wow. Turned into a decent little session. Amazing how much a difference a few fish makes, isn't it? This one's angry. Only been about 10 seconds. Dad's fuming. He's absolutely fuming. Oh. Well, I don't know what I'm doing different, folks, to my dad, other than the ground bait in the mix. Look at that. Lovely fish. Been in the shade all day, yeah, today as well. I think it's because I've been introducing this stuff all day and they've just been comfortably feeding on it. Oh, Dad's fuming. Oh, well, I think I'm pissing everybody else off on the lake as well, not just my dad, because there's nobody else catching. Look at that beauty. They're taking it on the drop. This is a better fish. It's just absolutely ripped my rod rest round. Get the other line out of the way. Oh, right, that's out of the way. Concentrate on this one now. It's nearly ripped me rod in, my feeder chair and everything. Beast. This is a unit, this one. Here we go. Come in. Oh my god, I need a bigger net, folks. I need a bigger net. Let's get that on the unhooking mat. Whoa. It's a lump, Dad. Again, a really nice fish, really nice dark fish. Beauty. Right big margin lump. They're always the biggest down there, aren't they? In the old margins. But look at that thing. Absolute lump. Look at that thing. Easy double. To do the old thumb in the mouth trick for this one. Putting it back upside down though, poor thing. There we go. Well folks, I'm having to film a second outro because I filmed an outro about an hour ago saying that it's been a tough day, but I've absolutely hammered them in this past hour. I was going to pack up, but I was just getting fish after fish after fish, so I just kept going with it. So I just want to say again, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next Westies Angling. But yeah, my dad's absolutely fuming. Look at him. Because he's not been catching really, which is mental considering he's fishing the same. Just 2 pegs down, but nobody else on the lake seems to have done any good either. So just makes you wonder what it is, doesn't it? And I think it's that. I think it's what I said. I think because they've built up confidence feeding on this fruit punch ground bait, as soon as the method feeder's gone in, they've been hammering it. But that's what it is.